Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Select Committee on Technology and Process. Happy to have everybody here today. This is kind of our first meeting with a lot of these members, and it's the purpose of the meeting is to figure out our interim work. And so I'm looking for fairly easygoing committee today and kind of flexible. I think we'd like to hear from the public. We'd like to hear from our members, and we'd like to go over kind of a draft letter that has been proposed by Mr. Sarah for our interim topics. So anybody have any opening comments before we kind of like go through a list, try to hear from people? Welcome. All right. Should we just start with some public? Why don't we do the draft letter first and then open it to, that'll give some guideline, and then we can. We don't actually, I don't feel a need to do a roll call, but we're only missing Senator Landon. But if you need a roll call to figure out these three guys, go right ahead.
Yeah, I don't think you are.
Yeah, JT's are the third person.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, JT is going to be late.
Oh, okay. Well, we can do a roll call. Are you prepared?
Yes, let's just do a roll call. Let's keep it going.
Mr. Chairman, convening roll call on Select Tech and Process, March 5th, 2026. Senator Landon.
Excused.
Senator Rothfuss.
Here.
Representative Chestick.
Here.
Representative Larson, JT.
Excused.
Co-Chairman Weber.
Here.
Chairman Case.
Present. Okay.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a draft letter from, it's the same letter we've sent almost every year, and it has 2026 interim topics. Priority number 1, general responsibilities relating to legislative technology. The Select Committee will review the Wyoming Legislature's use of technology, including but not limited to reviewing and updating as necessary the legislature's current information strategy to guide technology development for the legislative branch. The committee may participate in the selection of new legislator laptops. Priority 2, general responsibilities relating to legislative process. Review and recommend rule and process changes and other innovations to enhance the efficient, open, and transparent operations of the legislature. Priority number 3, Wyoming Public Television Tower System. The committee will be provided with a system overview, statewide tower map, and information outlining the Wyoming Public Television's role in emergency alert distribution and statewide service coverage. This topic would provide a general overview of the system's scope, structure, and operational role across Wyoming. Priority number 4, facilities issues. The Select Committee will coordinate as needed with the Capitol Square exhibit and wayfinding subcommittee regarding facilities issues in the legislative space. So that's what we have so far as possible topics. We'd look for an approval of them at some point in this meeting, but we also like to hear what other folks have to say and see if we need to expand or contract. So shall we just start with the public? Is that okay?
Yes.
Who from the public would like to testify? I'm thinking there's only one person here that doesn't have a legislative name tag, and that's Ms. Herman. Welcome, Ms. Herman. Oh, Mr. Winnie too. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Committee. Marguerite Herman with the League of Women Voters. And actually what I come to you with a request of that you would take up a suggestion and present it to the Management Council, because ultimately I think they're the ones who are going to have to decide. And it was something actually, I had been thinking of it, and Senator Rothfuss said something on the floor of the Senate yesterday referring to catch titles and how some of them had strayed far from the content of the bill, to achieve some political purpose down the road, perhaps. But, it's speculation, but they were inaccurate and misrepresented the bill to most people's view. And what I was going to suggest, if you could just sort of enshrine in the rules or whatever, is that LSO write the catch titles to ensure that they've written the bill, they can write the catch title, And especially they're used so much to determine germaneness and other things that, yes, they are not official part of the bill, but they are used extensively in the public's understanding of a bill, and they're not going to go, people are not going to go back and read original bills. If they see something like saying campaign materials. I'd be surprised if many did. So really they're relying on that catch title to be an accurate representation of what the bill does, what's in the bill. And so I would suggest that, LSO with their expertise and, neutral third party, that they're going to be as accurate as possible in, 5 words or less or whatever. So that's what I would ask respectfully, that you bring forward to the Management Council and present to them.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? Any questions? Mr. Director, do you remember kind of the history of how catch titles, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I do recall that I don't think legislators chose their catch title names very often in the far past, but do you recall?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I know that when I started here, in 2006, there was much less leeway given to legislators in what the catch title would be. LSO was given a broader discretion at that point in time to decide on the catch title and make sure it was germaneness. In the last 20 years, legislators have started to care more about what those catch titles are, and have therefore requested them to be whatever they want it to be. There's no real policy on it because it's not an official part of the document, official part of the bill title that needs, to accurately reflect what's in the bill for constitutionality considerations. We felt that, after some mild pushback, really at the end of the day, it's for the legislator to decide. So there could certainly be Management Council policy that would dictate what a bill catch title would have to say. But that's really for council to decide.
And,
Sure.
and Mr. Chairman, if I could just
Ms.
simply
Herman?
just remind me that, it's possible that the LSO does not represent, doesn't, I think the sponsor could have the opportunity to object, or I think maybe if they think it's wildly inappropriate or whatever. But I would like the LSO to take the first swipe at it, because with the interest, again, with the goal in mind that when the public reads it, they have a real accurate and fair idea of what the bill does.
Okay. Questions for Ms. Herman or Mr. Director?
And part of this to keep in mind is a lot of these bills are originating from some national organization, and they've got all 50 states with that same catch title. And so, that's really what is going on in a lot of instances, is either they want that uniformity across all the states. And the catch title itself, you might read and be like, I don't know what this does, what the bill does because of this catch title, but it may be important to those folks to keep it like that. Or a lot of people like cute catch titles because they get people's attention and they want their, the bill may then be better received that way. So, but I wouldn't want to paint this as like some antagonistical relationship between LSO and sponsors. Most of the time, it's a collaborative effort. If somebody just goes, hey, I want a bill draft on this. We come up with the catch title. They're fine with it. Or they'll say, oh, hey, you know what? This other catch title would work better. Yeah, sure. Great. And it's less than 1% of the time where we have to go, I don't know about this catch title too much.
Fair enough. Questions for either the director or Ms. Herman? Thank you, Ms. Herman. That was great. Anybody else like to direct the committee? How about anything from the clerks? And I realize we're missing our house friends, but Madam Chief Clerk, do you have any thoughts? Anything we should look at? You might want to stay on just to be part of this committee. We may have 5 or 6 meetings and stretch it out through the year.
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, our IT staff developed a new way to do the journal. And it's much more electronic than what it used to be. And so it was a real collaborative effort between our IT staff and the clerks. But Ellen identified a potential rule conflict with that. And so that's what she would like to talk about here. But I just wanted to provide just a little bit of background as to kind of what led to this.
Clerk Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Anthony. What we uncovered last year, kind of by accident, actually, Senate Rule 14.0 discusses the Senate journals and records, and it identifies what has to be in the journal, but it says nothing as to order of the journal. When we in the Senate had a journal clerk, it was ordered chronologically. The digital journal, however, grouped bills by reading or by actions. So the first thing you see are reports from standing committees. In the Senate, we read those in throughout the day. However, they're all in numerical order. It's my opinion that the digital journal is much more user-friendly. If anyone had to go back and look up a transaction, if they knew the bill number and the action of that day, you could go right to it. Where before you might leaf through 100 pages looking for where that action happened on that bill. But we did find that in Mason's section 695, it specifies that to be a true record of the proceedings arranged in chronological order. So there's a little bit of a conflict there. I believe the digital journal is more of a reference document than the old paper paste-up journal was. But in order to be in compliance, we should probably look at making that available in order of business rather than chronological order. The thing it does include is the roll calls, which are all time stamped. So if anyone ever had to go back and recreate it chronologically, they could. But I don't know what the purpose of that would be.
Senator Rothfuss.
Thank you. Do we not have a timestamp on every entry?
Pardon me?
Do we not have a timestamp on every entry that would go into the journal?
I love negative questions.
Do we have a timestamp on every entry that goes into the
Mr. Chairman, Senator Rothfuss, we do not. Only the roll call system. So any generated printed roll call would have a timestamp on it.
Okay, and I guess this question is to Anthony. Can we do that through IT where anything that's entered just gets a timestamp?
Let's think about that for a minute. I want to
Yeah.
slight time out. So when something is put in the journal may not be conterminous with when it actually happens. The roll call obviously is. The roll call goes down, you hit enter, time matches event. I don't know about other things in the journal, and Jamie's back there, and Anthony, can you weigh in on this? I mean, it's probably just minor.
Yeah, I'll refer here to Jamie, but I think you're exactly right, Senator Case. I think that there are some things that it would be pretty difficult to do that with.
So if it was timestamped, it might just be the entry point, but Jamie, Mr. Schwab.
Mr. Chairman, it all depends on what action you're talking about in the journal. Everything that ends up in the Bill Digest does have a timestamp because those digests are chronological. The challenge of within a day is if there's any mistakes that are made to that action and we go back and correct it, and then you post to it, it could have a modified time. And then you got to always go back to the original time, and it makes it more difficult on the editing or correcting of the journal and the timestamps. But for the most part, they all have timestamps.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
And maybe we probably don't want to get into this too deeply right now, but actually, I'll just follow up with you later.
Clearly, we should have a couple of inter meetings on it.
Yeah. Talk about I have thoughts.
But I'll bet you might be able to kind of do both. Have a journal that meets Mason's, but at the same time have a journal
Yeah.
that is chronological, or is, event-based, around the legislation. I don't know. Anything else, Madam Chief Clerk?
Just one more thought I had, and this has to do, Mr. Chairman, with what began as a practice when we were at the Jonah location. I'm aging myself, of course, but my hair already does that.
I was there at the Jones. Come on,
Yes.
everyone was-
So the problem was the fishbowl, if you recall, there were not speakers out there. So
Right.
the public that was in observing the session could not hear the votes. So in the Senate, we repeated those votes, and I believe the House did too, while we were at Jonah. That went away when we moved back to the Capitol because of the size and of the volume, obviously, of roll call votes in the House. We have continued with that practice in the Senate. As a clerk, I appreciate that, because if I hear incorrectly or if there's a noise at the same time someone is voting, it's difficult for even myself to record that vote. But now I feel like it's somewhat antiquated with the new live roll call system that pops up so that the public actually sees that live
Mhm.
as the votes are being cast. So I guess my suggestion would be to either consider to memorialize that through a rule
Mhm.
and make it permanent, or decide we've moved on from that and eliminate it. So just a suggestion.
I think it's fair, and I think we should talk about that some more. Might interplay with, having, we kind of do it also so we don't have to have screens with the votes in the chambers, but Mr. Larson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do think, I like that feature of the Senate, and I actually wish the House would do it. It would be, I think, then the public can also just watch the live stream and know what we're voting, rather than having two screens up with the vote, roll call vote and everything. And it also just helps the individual legislator make sure that it's recorded accurately into the system as well.
Well, let's put it on the list to talk about. And can I have a housekeeping favor? Does anyone have an ability to see, well, you would know if the Senate's in session, right? We're supposed to go in at 2. Yeah, and I guess you
Yes,
have to be
Mr.
there no
Chairman.
matter what. I mean, we can kind of fudge it. No, but I'm wondering, the Senate hasn't started promptly lately, so, we are caucusing? Okay,
Oh, maybe. I stand.
I guess we don't know what we're doing at 2. So Madam Chief Clerk, we'd certainly excuse you to go up there, but maybe someone could view the live feed and just let us know when the Senate starts. Is that possible? On the phone or something? Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. You and your staff are certainly. Is there anything from the House? Or did I mean to cut you off too soon? Now, because you suggested these topics, you have to work with us during the intro. You know that. Okay. Anything from the House? Great. Any further discussion on issues from the staff? Anything? Anything is welcome. Senator Landon.
Mr. Chairman, you may have already discussed this, but just so everyone knows, there's still a little bit more work to be done in the television studio. And
Okay.
that work will commence. My understanding is right after the session, we'll finish up down that hallway, all the work on the public TV area.
Okay.
All of that's to be renovated and set up properly for a television location. So that's one of the last pieces of the wayfinding and exhibit, and then more coming on acoustics also. That'll be a pretty significant rollout of some things that will be done on that front. So
Wow.
just thought that might be of interest to the committee.
Excellent. How about done this way, Madam Chairman?
I have a couple of suggestions.
You bet.
I did like what the clerk had talked about with the roll call votes
Mhm.
and the screen. I don't know if we need a screen, but the roll call votes were, if they call your name and you say aye or nay, she repeats it.
Mhm.
That's been very helpful. I have heard comments on that. Is another topic, one thing that was brought up a couple of times was on the wildleg.gov site is where we mention throughout, either it's a bill or directions or instructions, where we mention either a statute or a bill. Is there any way that we could make that to where you can just click on the statute and then you can go to the statute instead of getting completely out of the screen to go into another screen to check out the statute? Hyperlink, yes, thank you.
do that dynamically. That'll give
Jamie, thoughts on that?
Jamie some
Yeah.
video.
He must
Mr.
think he needs
Chairman,
something to do.
Mr. Director Obrecht.
We've looked at it. The problem is you've got hundreds of thousands of statutory sites. And when we update our statutes every year, then you'd have to make sure you go in and update every single one of those, or they just go to a dead link. And he's gonna correct me.
I understand.
I thought that was the problem, why we didn't do this.
Well, we're going to find out, sir. Jamie.
Mr. Chairman, Director Obrecht and I talked about this, I think like a year or so ago. He asked us to explore that. And one of the challenges is the bills are annual. So you have new bills every year. And those statutes obviously change every year as well. So you could have a link that could take you at the time frame of when that bill came up, and that statute is totally a different reference than what it is now. So over a period of time, it's not necessarily accurate. When you're looking at archival type stuff, for say the 2026 session or whatever, and we did it for the links for this year, we obviously could go to the current statutes, but then like what Director Obrecht was saying, how do you manage that into the future?
So I bet you're on the same track.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be able to just highlight whatever you're talking about and drop it into an AI tool and have it come back with the best suggestions? And then that would always work. And what you have is an AI tool that you can click on, and it would, if there was a statute reference, click it into that, then it searches and says, that was in so-and-so, and this year it was updated, and that relates to this. Why couldn't we do that? Look at his eyes rolling back.
Couldn't somebody just do that anyways? With
Sure they
stuff
could.
being and then the problem is, if we start relying on AI to direct people to correct statutory references, it's gonna be wrong. And some of the time, and then we'll say, hey, it'll come back on us. Oh, this is not the right statute that you guys directed us to. So, and that's, you
I
really
get it.
broach a way, way bigger topic than what I think Co-Chairman Weber brought up there. And that's the use of AI in our.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Did I get close to you?
Well,
No.
I was just thinking that you could have what are effectively dynamic links and then an XML creation of the statutes in such a way that it would feed and dynamically update. And we don't have it that way, but we could definitely have it that way.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if I have a direct answer for that, but part of the limitation we could have is the way we build the statutes every year with the tool that we use. I'm not sure if what you're saying is accurate, because each one of those years it's not like a dynamic type table. We're creating new files every year for that.
Right, and therein is the difference. It would be getting to maybe having a more modern tool for our statutes and how our statutes are created, which might be a benefit also. And that would facilitate the request if we had more of a dynamic, more of a database than we're rendering static files.
Possibly. Jamie?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, we utilize the Folio for that. And as you are aware, when you go to our website and click on the statute links, we're actually going to Folio's website. So we are limited by what they provide us. We haven't looked at another tool for quite some time. We moved to that web licensing or whatever that probably 10 years ago, maybe now. But Folio has kind of been the standard bearer for our statutes for quite some time, since before I got here.
Well, we could talk about this more.
Yeah.
in this-
Mr.
in the-
Chairman, just to, if
Yeah.
you don't mind,
Yeah.
just to wrap this up, I think what, would be a good idea is hyperlinks in this year's bills. But the problem is after that, then we start to have to host archival statutes
Yeah.
on our website.
So you could just have the hyperlinks not work in archival and have a
Right.
disclaimer. We could do something like that.
Well,
Or just have them work 1 year.
and Mr. Chairman, that's the thing. If I realize that's with Folio as a limitation. If we were using something that
We could
was
store it
more
with,
modern, then,
Bitcoin, right?
then yes, we actually could definitely do that. We could be pointing to something which is dynamic and therefore it's updated. So even if we're changing the statute, we can be pointing to what the current statute is and use a common link pointer format that gets you to the right place, assuming that it still exists. Now that would be a problem, but that's a problem in statute if you've got an old bill and it doesn't exist anymore.
And I guess
And
that's-
Senator and everybody, we don't have a lot of time
Yeah,
today, and we could have this discussion at an interim
Yeah.
meeting. And let's get down to Representative Larson.
Another topic, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Another topic I'd like to see, and I don't know if it was brought up before I got here, but microphones in the house at each desk.
Oh,
I think that would be convenient, especially we have a lot more people and a lot more distance to travel between chairs and desks, people tripping over each other and stuff. I think if we could look into that, that would be great. I brought a bill last year, but it didn't get introduced.
let's, I don't think that it's technically feasible at some level. It may be more work than we think, but I think it's a good idea. Let's put it on the list if that's all right.
I have
Absolutely.
I'm gonna add a comment to that. Some of the conversations I've been hearing from the public is that they do want to hear from more people talking.
Uh-huh.
And it would enable other people who might not want to maneuver around the whole house to get to a podium, either in the front of the house or the back of the house.
I think that's probably true. I think, we'd like to have more House members talking on these issues. And be good. Anything else?
Yes, sir. I have, I follow up on one, but it's a couple of questions.
Yeah.
On the emails, I know last year there were some questions and I would just like to hear an update on, let me turn this on, I'm sorry.
Well, that'd be good.
An update on any of the improvements. I have not heard complaints to me this year.
Is this about the issue of spam?
Of some
and-
spam emails. Thank you for
Ms. Director?
the help on that.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we worked last interim with our our email service provider, Microsoft, to try to adjust the settings within our email server system. And right now, I believe we've got a spam level of 5. So anything that is 5 or above gets delivered to an inbox. Any spam level that's 4 or below would get sent either to your junk folder or your quarantine folder. Mr. Chairman, same as Chairman Weber, I haven't heard any complaints. We had
Mhm.
one inquiry earlier just to see if their emails were getting through to inboxes, and this was a large quantity of emails that had been delivered in the 10-day time frame. And I don't want to say how many emails, but a large quantity. And I think less than 0.001% were being sent to a junk folder.
How about if we just have a report on email at our first meeting?
That'd be terrific.
Yeah, and just, it sounds like we've made a lot of progress. People seem to be happier. Anything else?
I have one more.
You bet.
One more comment. For this session, it was pointed out to me by a few people that the screens that we had down here in this meeting area that talked about where the meetings are and what is coming up, people are missing them and they wanted to know where they're at. And I said, I will ask. Thank you.
Wayfaring screens.
Yes.
There's one at the outside of every meeting room.
Small one.
Yeah. Anthony?
Yep, Mr. Chairman, Representative Weber. I'm sure I'm guessing what you're referring to is, so in the past, we've had a monitor down here that was kind of,
Really big.
yep, and it had the list of all the meetings. So that was replaced by these kiosks that are out here.
Okay.
And there's one right outside here. That was a project and it's too bad he left, but Senator Landon and the Wayfinding Committee worked on this last interim. So that same information is on there. You just have to kind of hunt for it a little bit more, unfortunately. But it's the same information that was on the TV monitor that we had down here.
Thank you for the update. I'll let them know.
Great. I have one little tiny thing. We don't consistently use the names of these meeting rooms and it causes confusion. I think there's still House members that haven't found a meeting yet, to be honest, but no, but I know it's confusing for the public because just pick this room. It is the Wind River Basin Room, but it's also Public Meeting Room 4, but it's also referred to in notices sometimes as W4. And so you've got W4 and PMR4 are used interchangeably. And I think there depending on where a notice comes from, maybe from the desk or from the, it's not the same. And that's got to be terribly confusing for public. And we've got to be able to have a convention where we either use both names, which seems silly to me, or maybe try to refine that. And I bet somebody's working on that because I bet this is not the first time that's been brought up. Does anybody have anything else? My suggestion is that we would do possibly 2 just partial day meetings. One of them for sure online, maybe both of them online, spread out over the interim. And that the second one could be in person in conjunction with other meetings if that were required. We should ask for it just in case. We might come up with something. Is that an acceptable? Anthony, what do you think?
So, Mr. Chairman, right now in your letter, you
have 2 1-days.
2 one-day meetings. Yep.
Yeah. We may not go a full day. I mean, in
Yeah.
the past, we haven't, past year or so, we didn't meet last year, but before that we had half days.
They're usually half-day meetings. Yep.
So do you think ask for a full day and one of them be for sure online, possibly both of them? And do we think everything we've said today fits in with these topics? And maybe what we could do is let people think about what was said and see. I think these topics are general enough that they would include them all. Does anybody see an exception? And I think these were good topics. Should we go with that? Go with this. And the proposal for the schedule. We could refine the schedule to have possibly a first meeting, say in June and a latter meeting in October. Is that possible? I'm thinking of trying to bracket the useful interim.
Yeah.
Maybe we can circulate the calendar for that.
Yep.
Anything else come before the committee?
Mr. Chairman, might have that meeting room done in your hometown by July. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh, maybe we could take the jet to Lander.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Let's do it.
All right. I think we're adjourned, madam. We okay? You guys have a great afternoon.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Chairman.
Someday I want to have an update of how great our Wyoming system is that we built ourselves.